The idea of the European Cup had caught the public's imagination. The matches were a sellout. After the first leg defeat in Bilbao, Manchester was desperate to see if United could still win.
For the start, work came second place that day. There was only one thing to do, that was to get home, get to the match. Fortunately, I lived 3 doors away from the game, from the main entrance. And we just couldn't get to the game fast enough.
I was at home, and I wanted to go to the match. And my dad got home from work and gave me the story about the fact that he couldn't get a ticket, and he thought perhaps they wouldn't do so well anyway, and because we'd lost the first game 5-3.
It was impossible to take him because there were so many people. There was 80,000, if I remember, or around about that. But you can imagine a little boy, no more than 3 foot high, he wouldn't have a chance. So he just couldn't come.
And he was wanting to let me down gently, which was nice. And then off he went, and I listened.
And it was the first real exciting European Cup game that I ever remember.
I was doing my national service then, so I wasn't able to sort of go everywhere. And I remember one of my sergeant majors said, asked me if I was going to the match. I said, I'm not going to. I'm doing my national service. And he said, well, I've got a car, I'd like to go. He says, if you can somehow manage it, you know. I said, but I'd love to take you. So it was CSQ White. He came from Edinburgh. And I said, OK, I can get the tickets if you'll take me up.
Floodlights at Main Road, Manchester. United must beat their opponents by 3 clear goals to reach the semi-finals of the European Cup.
I'd never seen a football match under floodlights before. And people said, oh, it'll never be the same, you know, it won't catch on, they won't like it, they won't be able to see the ball, and if they score, we won't know if it's a goal. There was all sorts of rumours going around.
4 minutes before half-time, Manchester's Violet goes through, and it's a goal.
Anybody around my age who was there will tell you, for atmosphere, you could cut it with a knife. The roar from start to finish never stopped. It just got louder and lower, but there was a roar throughout the game. And the atmosphere, there was a bit of mist around the ground, and it felt the ball was being sucked towards the goal when we had an attack. If a centre went in, it was sucked towards a United player's head so he could get a header. Balls were flashing past the post.
Manchester's second came from a free kick. Taylor doing the rest.
You could hear the shouts from Main Road over in Oldham, I believe. You know, I heard people tell me the next day, you know, I used to work on Smithfield Market, and the fellas from Oldham used to say, I heard all the roaring going on, what was going on, because they beat Bilbao 3-0.
And Manchester was set for the semi-finals.
Standing at the door in Main Road waiting for Dad to come home, these guys were filing past me, going home from the match, and there was no atmosphere. It was eerie. Because they were all, plainly, I didn't realise it because I'd not been there, but they were all so drained that they had nothing left. They had nothing left to give.
Oh, absolutely. Feeling that they had nothing left. You know, they'd spent all their force. We virtually willed them. Everybody willed them to score.
3-0. It's absolutely sensational. And then we drove straight back through the night, got back about 3 in the morning, and I can remember some of the supporters of other teams were saying, yeah, United have no chance, you know, they'll never get 3. And I went back, yeah, we got 3. But we didn't have any great in-depth tactics on how to play against them. It was all sort of trial and error, you know, and there was a lot of error to begin with. But it was something that we had to do, and the old man said, well, we have to do it. So we went and played all these wonderful teams, you know, with very attractive names, you know, Real Madrid, and it was a terrific time.
United drew Real Madrid in the semi-final, a name to fill every supporter, every player with awe.
The stadium was the first thing I noticed going over there. Tremendous stadium. I think most players want to play against the best, you know. They want to win, but there's nothing like playing against the best in the world. And for me, Real Madrid was the best club side in the world.
Sir Matt couldn't cover his admiration for Di Stefano and Hento. You know, normally they try and keep things like that quiet, you know, and otherwise it would frighten you to death. So we were there and we were playing them.
Real taught United a lesson. They won 3-1. But these were the best players in the world, men that earned 10 or 20 times as much as the babes. Life for people in Manchester was a million miles away from the glamour of these superstars, and it was incredible that they could be coming to Manchester, rainy Manchester in the north of England.
Manchester was always portrayed as wet, dingy, flat-capped, flat dialects. You know, everything was portrayed as being grey. We had to be lesser people because these were exotic people. Di Stefano, Argentinian, where's Argentina?
When Real Madrid came to Manchester, I actually travelled to the airport just to see the players arrive and get in the team coach. It was such a magical name. It was like seeing a film star.
Manchester United are at home to Real Madrid in the second leg of the European Cup semi-final.
I was looking forward to get even with Hento because he'd given me a bit of a chasing, you know. I hadn't seen anything like this before. I remember Matt did say in the team talk, he said, I might need a motorbike to get this guy.
The French referee is kept busy for plays pretty rough at times. A neat overhead kick starts Madrid on the move, and like a flash, they're up the other end with winger Copa beating Wood for a goal.
We went full of anticipation into this great game against Real Madrid at Old Trafford, 3-1 down from the first leg. And I think it was within 20 minutes or so we were 2 down.
That was the weakness of youth, wasn't it? That they didn't do what they do now, settle down and see what's happening and have everybody back and then just see how it goes and then put on the pressure. They went sailing forward.
The Red Devils keep up the attack, but they can't press it home. And when Madrid break out, inside left Real shows how it should be done.
And we were caught, you know, we were caught on the break. Well, we didn't know anything about being caught on the break. These things were all new to us.
And he thought, oh, heck, they're going to get murdered here. But they didn't, did they? Robert Charlton took a hand.
He centres, it bounces off Taylor, and Whelan makes sure of it.
It was crazy. We were so confident that even though we were 4 goals down, we still thought we could do something. And Billy Whelan scored a goal. I scored a goal. And we had about 10 minutes left. And I can remember somebody fell over and was wasting time on trying to waste time pretending that he was injured. And Duncan Edwards picked him up. He picked him up and didn't throw him, but placed him off the pitch. You know, he did pick him, placed him off the pitch so that he didn't waste any more time.
There's an ugly scene when Torres falls after colliding with left winger Pegg. Manchester try to carry him off, and Madrid to pull him back. It's a pity that such behaviour on both sides should spoil the brilliant football which gave Real Madrid their semi-final victory.
When they got beat by Real Madrid, even me at my young age, and I wasn't a great thinker out like that, a great scholar, but I came away and I thought, oh, you know, we'll never catch these people up. And then I read an article that Matt Busby wrote and he said, oh, we'll catch these people. He must have been thinking what everybody, he said what everyone was thinking. Well, don't worry about that. Once these young lads have matured, we'll take on the world and we'll beat them.
I was approached to go to Real Madrid as manager, and Mr. Bernabeu and the officials there said, tremendous salary, and we will make a heaven for you, Madrid. And I eventually said to Mr. Bernabeu, I'm very grateful, but my heaven is here in Manchester.
United had learned a great deal from that first season in Europe. Next time, they would be better prepared tactically, and the young team was maturing and growing in confidence. Despite the league's dire warnings, they won the title again and were in Europe for a second time. But not all the lessons were learnt, or could be learnt from those first heady days abroad. The danger signs were there, but only with hindsight.
Payoff to it all, and it happened in Bilbao, where When we went to take off to come home, the wings were covered with snow. Riley, the captain of the Dakota, he refused to take off. And of course the players and even the press were lazy devils, as you know, but we gave them a hand to sweep the wings clear.
It was extremely cold, and several of the lads had to get sweeping brushes. And I've got a photograph of him, and several of them actually, sweeping ice off the aeroplane. And they had to, some of them had to sweep the runway as well to allow the aeroplane to get up to actually take off.
And we're just happy, you know, how you are at that age, and we went trundling along the runway and just straight up between the two things. Way, lads, we've made it. And I think I'm correct in saying it was exactly a year before the Munich disaster. I think it was February the 6th, 1957.